You are listening to the Haig MD channel. Nothing on this channel is medical advice. It is for information purposes only, and before you make any changes, or if you need advice, call your own doctor. Hey peeps, it is the day before the first day of the rest of your life, or 2026. Anyway, as promised, we are going to talk about the January challenge that I am proposing to you, and many of you are my friends and you're doing this with me already. But those of you who are patients following me or just people I know, I want to encourage you to jump on this bandwagon with us. This is not a New Year's resolution. This is how can I be intentional in this first month of the year to try out some habits, maybe leave some habits that are improving the health of the rest of my life. Some of the things you try out this month, you may decide, man, I'm going to keep doing this every day of the year. Some of them are just short term and just for self-discipline or just to explore and see if it is something that makes your life better or doesn't. 30 days is a great trial period for any health habit that you might consider. I've had a lot of habits over the years that I tried for 30 days that I decided were really stupid and I'm never doing them again. Like one of them, giving up coffee. I love coffee. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to give it up. I'm probably never doing that again. I like the way it tastes. I don't drink it first thing in the morning. First thing in the morning, I drink electrolytes. We'll talk about that. But I just love the flavor of an amazing cup of mycotoxin-free coffee. Also another topic for another day. So what I challenged all of you to is to leave two things and love two things. So some examples of some things you might think about leaving would be snacking. I would say snacking is probably the biggest detriment to our health in the United States. If you look at obesity rates, they skyrocketed when snacking started. My grandmother, who when she passed away weighed less than 100 pounds and did for most of the life that I remember, never snacked and would tell us, do not snack, you're going to ruin your dinner. The average woman I see in my office, when I tell her snacking counts as a meal, how many meals a day are you eating? It's funny because they'll all say 3. And then we start talking and they're like, well, okay, so there's breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, late night snack. So we're talking 6 to 8 times a day that the average American is eating. And that doesn't even include the fun, sugary drinks that many people are partaking in. So snacking is something you could try leaving behind and just see what happens. What happens if I only eat 3 30-minute segments out of my day and no other time? In some circles, that's called time-restricted eating, but nevertheless, think about leaving snacking. Personally, I'm leaving snacking, and I had done that for years, but definitely have some holiday slippage that came in, so I'm recommitting to that. The other dry January month that I typically engage in is no flour, no sugar, and no alcohol. But the no alcohol is not as difficult for me as the no flour, no sugar. So that's something you can think about leaving. What if you just left behind liquid sugar? Okay, so what if you said, I can't consume any sugar in liquid form? So that leaves a whole lot of driving through various places in the afternoons for a pick-me-up, unless you start drinking black coffee there. It might mean leaving behind the fun margarita, mojito, name your poison behind, literally and figuratively, because they're liquid sugar too. Alcohol is liquid sugar. So that's another one you could think about. What if you quit biting your nails? What if you quit smoking? What other habit, and only you know, are you engaging in on a daily or semi-daily basis that if you left it behind for a month, it would improve your quality of life? So I'm going to challenge you to 2 of those. 2 things to love, okay? So in other words, this is not all negative. We want to bring in some positive things. I think I told you guys last year I did a 25 push-up a day challenge where I did everything I could to do 25 push-ups in the day. I accomplished that most days of the week. I am not perfect. And again, none of this is about perfection, but it was amazing. And my upper body strength improved dramatically. I was able to get myself into the boat off of the lake. I mean, just little things. So what's something you could love? For me, I'm a Christian. I'm committed to reading the Word of God every day, so I'm going to love the Word. And there are days here over the last few months that has not happened. My schedule's been crazy, or I just frankly haven't felt like it. But in the month of January, I'm committed to every day loving that. I'm also really making a new commitment to moving my body intentionally every day. So I kind of subscribe to the mentality of, you've got a basement and you've got an ideal, right? Like the basement, the bare minimum. I woke up out of bed and rushed into the hospital, and then had to do the office, and then barely got home in time to change to go to dinner, and then home that night and still hadn't finished charting. You know, one of those days where it's like there really wasn't a lot of minutes in the day that were mine. My basement on that day is going to be 5 minutes of intentional exercise. So that might look like I leave my office and walk around the building for 5 minutes, or I have a row machine set up in my office at work. I do that for 5 minutes, or I go to the basement and lift weights for 5 minutes. But I'm going to commit to daily intentional movement. My goal is 45 minutes every day, but my absolute minimum will be 5. So that's another one I would encourage you to think about. Maybe you want to learn a new language, or you did know a language when you were younger and you'd like to kind of revisit that. There's so many apps now that can make this super easy, and they bug you if you don't do them every day. I won't mention Duolingo, but anyway, that little guy will bug you. She'll be like, you didn't do it today. You could love learning or working on a foreign language. You could think about an instrument. I taught myself how to play guitar a couple years ago. I committed to 5 minutes every day when I was learning, and I've kind of let that slip. So I think I'm going to commit to that again, where I just make sure every day I'm picking it up and playing, even if it's just a couple songs, just a few minutes, keep my calluses, keep my agility in those fingers, and working on that. What else could you love to do every day? Maybe it's you read right before you go to bed. Maybe it's you do a meditation app. Maybe you work on a deep breathing. I was listening to one of the scientists I like to follow, and he was talking about doing box breathing 5 minutes a day, every day before bed. Box breathing is where you breathe in for a count of 2, hold it for a count of 2, breathe out for a count of 2, hold it for a count of 2. But there's lots of different things that you could bring in that you could love. Can you find 2 of them? And find 2 things that you leave and be committed to that every day. And then I'm going to show up every day for less than 60 seconds. You don't have to listen to me drone on. But I'm going to just post a short every day about, I don't know, maybe the challenge that it was for me that day, or maybe the victory I had that day, or maybe just a cool story from work. I get a lot of questions from you guys about like what a typical day looks like when you deliver babies and do surgery. But every day I will post something that will be an encouragement to you on your health journey, and I want you to work on that. So, sexual health hint. You know, last time we talked a little bit about medications and how they can be amazing. The other thing is a physical body that exercises on a regular basis, frankly, makes intimacy much easier. Okay? So, like, committing to doing bridges or core work or leg work or what have you can get you into a better physical shape, which makes intimacy physically easier. That is your sexual health hint of the week. So as we close up and you begin your new year tomorrow, hit me over on Facebook or Instagram, or even just post here on YouTube. What are your love it and your leave it's, and what's your level of commitment? You're like, I don't know if I can do this, but I might try. Or no, I really need a month of discipline. There are seasons of our lives for discipline and periods of our lives that we need to really work on, focus on our health. Maybe you want your kids to see you doing this. You want your kids to see you committing to exercise, committing to not snacking, committing to not drinking the sugars. It's amazing to tell your kids to have healthy habits. It's even more amazing when they see you live it out. And that's what I would encourage you as we leave today. Love out loud and live on purpose, everybody. See you tomorrow.